You cannot do that work for them, because then guess what? You're going to be the source. So in doing so, you become that source of strength for everyone rather than letting them lean on God. But you're not supposed to process their grief for them, because guess what will happen if you start that? Oh, can I just tell you? If you start that, you are going to be the source of strength. They're going to look at you as God. And I could tell you right now, you don't want people to look at you like that. You don't want to become Jesus in somebody else's life. You want to bring them to the cross, not crucify yourself on it. You see, you send the message too when you do that, when you ignore your own grieving or your own emotional struggle or whatever it is, whether it's loss, whether it's grief over something. What you do when you process somebody else's feelings and you become their comforter when you're the one walking through it yourself and it happened to you, and you're then outsourcing that to them, you are sending the message that your own grief and pain are handled when they're merely a placeholder for another's pain. And here's the other thing. Then you begin to believe the lie that your grief and your feelings are a burden, thereby falsely believing that you are a burden. So what do we do? How do we stop this? Because you may say, okay, wow, that's revelatory and we got this. Now I get it. But what do I do when people do this, or when this happens to me? How do I handle that with grace? What does that look like? What should I do instead? I'm going to tell you. The first thing, avoid phone calls when you're walking through grief. If you don't have people in your life who simply know how to listen to understand rather than listen to commiserate or listen to respond, there's a vast difference. So if you have people that you love and that are good people, again, this is not demonizing people. This is just saying that people are not emotionally intelligent. And when we start with the premise that they are, we end up placing ourselves in situations that we shouldn't be in. So recently, when I lost a very close friend last week, I had to process, but I also had to process while, mom life, picking up my child from school, working, all the things. But what I did do is I stayed away. I spent the whole week. I didn't get together with anybody because I am a processor internal, in the sense that when I'm hurting, I go to my father. I'm more comfortable that way. I reached out and I asked for prayer, but I didn't get together with anybody for coffee, and I didn't take any phone calls talking about it because I just didn't want to. I just spoke to my husband and God. That's it. Those are my people. I always say my husband's my person. That's my person. And I'm his person. And so we together are one. It's different. When we share together, it's different. And he has a great response, so he knows how to respond. So he's like, I'm so sorry, and he's feeling it, and we're hugging each other, and we're comforting each other, and that is beautiful. That's the gift right there. But there is a vast difference. Commiseration comes after the initial shock of grief. So commiserating can come later on, meaning 13 years after my daughter passed, when there is a mom who just lost a child, I can say, I am so sorry. I've experienced this pain and I'm praying for you. The commiseration isn't me telling my story. Understand that. That's not the commiseration I'm talking about. She just lost somebody. So I'm not about to give you my story, my tragic story. That's not the same thing. No, I'm here to say I get that pain so you don't feel so alone, because it's isolating when you lose a child or even when you lose a friend. It just feels like nobody gets that pain, or maybe, you're by yourself in it. And to just have maybe another mom say, hey, this happened to me and I am so sorry. You don't need to be talking about how you overcame when somebody is still in the pit. That's the example of when they're drowning and you're sitting there telling your testimony rather than picking them out of the muck and the mire. So commiseration looks like later on, right? It looks like maybe sharing something when you're healed enough to share it, not before.